might be wondering who I am. No, I'm not God. But appearances can be deceptive. But more about that later. No, I would prefer it if you would consider me to be a wise and ever so cynical storyteller. As I was saying, appearances can be deceptive. We all live in the quantum zone, whether we like it or not. No, it's not like the Twilight Zone. We didn't have to travel here. The quantum zone is where we were born and where we will die. Everything you see, the trees, the grass, me, is as insubstantial as a dream. And we forget this immutable law of nature at our peril. For it is most unwise to hold a materialistic view of the universe when the material doesn't exist. There really is a God, you know. I've met him, and I can assure you he's a harsh and unforgiving judge. Even what we might consider minor crimes can bring his blazing sword of justice to smite us. As I said, he can be very harsh, which brings us to the subject of my story, Roy Kibbey, a man totally oblivious to the moral laws of the universe, the kind of man who thought only of the acquisition of money and material possessions, which was quite handy considering he was an insurance agent, and heaven help anyone who stood in his way. And this was his downfall, for the moral universe has a habit, if ignored, of biting back. Our story starts one cold November morning when Roy was leaving its office.
Who have you got first?
A claim from a guy who says an elephant trod on his foot.
An elephant? Where does he live? Africa?
No, he lives here in town.
What's the probability of that happening? You don't believe him, do you?
He says it happened in a zoo. So, looks like we'll have to pay him.
Who's your first victim, Roy?
Client, Harry. First client.
Oh, sorry, Roy. Who's your first client, then?
That pestering bitch whose husband went missing 8 years ago on holiday.
What? Haven't you paid her out yet?
I can't pay out on a life policy without a body, can I? The Greek police haven't found one.
But in law, he's presumed dead after 7 years, isn't he?
Not by me, he isn't. She got a postcard 3 years after he went missing, and I'm still making inquiries. Well, it won't be the first time a husband's gone missing on his wife, will it? And it won't be the last.
What an arsehole.
Yeah, Roy, he's a piece of work, all right.
God sees all. It will come back on him if he's not careful.
Sad are they who have eyes yet cannot see.
Yeah, well, let's be on our way, shall we? We don't want to miss our Bible class.
Roy Kibbey, Mrs. Fenwick.
Mrs. Fenwick? I wasn't expecting you. I'm just going out. Oh, come in.
You phoned our office about half a dozen times in the last few weeks. May I ask why? Is there a problem?
Well, I would have thought that would have been pretty obvious. My husband's been missing for 8 years now, and you still haven't settled the insurance claim.
We can't pay out till we make sure he's dead, can we, Mrs. Fenwick?
Well, what am I supposed to live on?
And what about the postcard? Dead men don't send postcards, do they?
Oh, Jim, if only you knew what was going on. It's awful. I'm being tormented.
Tormented? By who? I'm playing by the rules here. Has it ever crossed your mind that he may have ran off? Won't be the first time it's happened.
He's been missing for 8 years, for God's sake.
I've told you, I'm still investigating this case.
We were very happy together. We never had a cross word. I just know in my heart that he's dead.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Fenwick, but we can't run a business based on what people feel in their hearts, can we?
My husband would have been horrified. He went to great lengths to make provision for me. It was you who sold it to us. We struggled for years to pay that premium. And now I ask, what for?
So there it is, Mrs. Fenwick. There's nothing else I can do. I don't wish to seem heartless. It's not in my nature. But unless I see a body in the morgue or some other conclusive proof that your husband's dead, I'm not settling your claim.
In law, he is presumed dead.
In this case, I'm the law, and I'm still making inquiries. I have Interpol looking into this.
You can see yourself out.
Mrs. Fenwick, I'm only doing my job.